Greetings, beautiful soul, and welcome to my channel, The Optimist Hub. My name is Yanga, and today's video, I actually want to share with you the people that have really made an impact in my life, especially with regards to my own personal development journey. So, it all started when I was around 17. I was doing my 11th grade, so I remember that year very well because I was going through the most. And the most prompted me to question my existence. And I proceeded to question, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? Who am I? What am I? Oh, I'm a soul, I'm a spirit, am I both? What is it? What's the reason? What are we doing here? Right? And very profound questions for me because I'd never really reflected on my existence to that extent. And so that's where the journey began. I am inquisitive by nature, so I started doing a lot of research, a lot of Googling, had an interest in, which I still do, in philosophy, really inquired on, I guess, what purpose is. Is my purpose to just exist, or is it to live? You know, and then I had to break that down. That involved a lot of sitting down with self, not just in my 11th grade. It became a lifelong thing. To this day, I still sit with myself and probe myself on certain questions, right? But as a form of, I guess, reflecting and just really getting to know self, right? But again, this journey of wanting to figure out, you know, what am I here to do? What am I living for? Is it about me? Is it about other people? You know, it's a beautiful journey. And it's constantly unfolding, right? And it's not a one night thing, overnight thing. It's not a 1 day thing. It's not a 1 year thing. It's constantly, happening. As I mentioned earlier, I'm still in the process of constantly seeking to better myself, to know myself. And obviously, once you start asking yourself these questions, self-awareness becomes a thing where you now really need to be vulnerable with yourself, be truthful to yourself, be naked with yourself, right? And ask yourself these questions and answer them truthfully to yourself. Because I think it's very important to unravel your own truth to yourself and then living that truth. Very important. So the process of unraveling the truth is really just sitting down with yourself, doing introspection with yourself, and learning yourself, which is where self-awareness comes in. And in learning yourself and in being aware of self, you then start to embrace self with its flaws and all, right? And in embracing self, this is where self-love comes in. Right? So it's very important to really understand that once you embark on the journey of personal development and personal growth, you are constantly evolving and constantly growing. So each and every time you're constantly evolving, you are constantly unlearning and becoming, and you have to again be in tune with self. And it's almost as though you're always getting reintroduced to a new version of self, simply because I would have encountered a certain situation that I guess showed me how I handle certain situations or things, and showed me, I guess, a version of myself that I did not necessarily know, and then now I need to be accepting of that. So again, self-acceptance comes into play. But without digressing, okay, so these are the people that really played a role. So obviously I started a lot of researching, and that now led me to reading a lot of books, a lot of self-help books, and also looking on YouTube, which I will share some of the people that I found on YouTube, but not necessarily in 2015, which is when I was doing my grade 11. Some I actually found in 2021. How old was I? I was 23. So it's again, like I'm saying, a journey and spans across different periods of time. And it's something that you need to really want and be accountable to yourself for, because again, if I'm, I guess, constantly wanting to stretch myself and really just become the greatest version of myself, not only will I be doing good for myself, but for those that experience me, right? And so yeah, again, without digressing, let's get into the list. So in no particular order, but I will have to start with this particular person, Erkhart Tolle. Erkhart, oh my goodness. So I remember the first book, self-help book that I ever read was by Erkhart Tolle, which is called The Power of Now. Now, in that book, I really got to learn the importance of being in the present moment. I really got to learn the importance of being one with self, be where your feet are at. Right? Erkhart Tolle is known as the preacher of the present moment, because really and truly that's where the magic lies. The magic is in the moment that is now. And he also explores certain ideas such as manifestation, visualization, which honestly, these are terms I had heard before, right, back then, but didn't really have like full context of what it entailed. But that book broke it down for me. And obviously this is when I started embarking on a journey of visualizing, and again, just really being mindful of the words and the thoughts that I think and say, because knowing that it is literally a form of manifestation. Yeah, he explores a lot of ideas that are centered around really just the power of the mind as well, but the present moment is where it's at. Just recently I read, which is last year, I was reading a book called Oneness with Life. It's by Erkhart Tolle as well. Again, it really explores the idea of, in actual fact, not only explores but emphasizes the idea of being in the present moment, which is very important, because oftentimes we find ourselves stuck in a constant loop of the past, right? The past events that have bruised us, that have hurt us, that have scared us away from even our own potential and dreams, and visions that we see for ourselves, right? He pulls us out of the past and says, be in the moment that is now. The chance that you have to rewrite the story is in this very moment. And so Erkhart Tolle will always be number one for me, because that's where it all began. Another person happens to be Bob Proctor. So I found Bob on YouTube, but before then, actually, I read a book called The Secret, where Bob also, I feel like that book is a collaboration of different writers who also share their own ideas on, again, manifestation, the power of the mind, etc. Right? And so Bob Proctor for me is also one of the best. May his soul rest in perfect peace. But what I love is that his work is still online, and that it's still circulating. The other day I was on TikTok and I saw one of his videos and was like, oh my goodness, Bob. And again, Bob was an amazing person. He explored the ideas of the law of attraction, and again, the power of the mind. This really was important for me to come across, and I feel like everything is divinely orchestrated by the higher power, that whatever it is that you come across, whoever it is that you cross paths with, and whatever it is that you do is in alignment with the greater purpose of your soul existence, right? And so I feel that I came across Bob at the right time, just when I needed him, because that's when I started understanding again the fact that we are energy. Right? You exist, and inside of you are cells that are buzzing, and that is energy itself. Never mind, your soul itself is energy. The spirit that lies within your soul is energy. And so again, I guess that answered the question of who am I? What am I? Am I beyond just this flesh? And that's exactly what Bob explains. It's, yes, you are beyond the flesh. You are spirit, you are energy, and everything that you go through in life, you grow through, right? And that we are human beings, yes, but our soul purpose is to be. As much as we are human, our soul purpose is to be, not only to exist but to live, and that we are souls having a human experience. That was the first time I came across that phrase, right? So Bob for me played a huge role. I will forever be grateful. Another person is Dolores. Dolores also talked, again, may her soul rest in peace, she passed on, but her work is still online. I came across Dolores as well on YouTube. She explored the idea, or again, the notion of really the existence of humans on this earth, and again, very much in line with what Bob Proctor did. But I felt the need to mention Dolores because again, it was good to actually hear that from a female, because most of the people that inspired me are actually men. So Dolores is one of the females that inspired me. And again, yes, the message might be the same, but the teaching is different, because each and every one had a different interpretation and perspective and experience of the very philosophies that they were bringing forth, so yes, Dolores for me was amazing. Another one is Alan Watts. May his soul rest in peace also. He was absolutely amazing. Again, very much in line with what Bob and Dolores spoke about, which was really just the power of the mind. But also with Alan, he really emphasized the importance of action, is that everything will only happen if you make it happen, if you take the step. Like, it's one thing to sit and envision and visualize, but like, you have to make the move. The same thing that Bob would also say, right? It's, you need to take action, you need to take the step. Again, I would not be where I am right now with regards to my personal development journey if I hadn't actually taken that step, right? And so it's very important to be inquisitive about your own journey, to be curious about your own growth, to also lean into that curiosity and let it live, let it come through, let it come to fruition, right? Another person would have to be Mooji. So I found Mooji on YouTube. He is amazing. Again, he also talks a lot about being in the present moment. I remember this one time in his video, he spoke about the moment being you, and you being the moment that is, and the moment is eternal, and so the present moment is eternal. And so you, in this very moment, because you are alive and breathing, can do absolutely anything that is beyond any limits. And so again, this is all embedded in your choices and decisions that you take. And so in this very moment, because you have limitless choices and decisions that you can take, you are also infinite. That for me was just like incredible, because literally this very moment that life has presented us with, we have infinite choices, infinite possibilities, infinite, oh my goodness, we have infinite alternate lives that we could be living, right? And so because of the infinite nature of the present moment that it has presented us with, we in this very moment are also infinite. Come on. That for me was absolutely amazing. Another person that really inspired me was Hindz. Is actually he's on Instagram, he's on YouTube, he is on TikTok. I always talk about Hindz. I feel like I spoke about him when I was suggesting the different podcasts that you can listen to. So Hindz is also very much into mindset shifting, and he played a role. I think I discovered Hindz, it was during the pandemic, so it was 2020. So basically that is I think that's my list. Who else? Oh, another person that really like made an impact, I would have to say, is Louise L Hay. So I read a book by Louise L Hay. I'm pretty sure I've spoken about the book before on this channel, but Louise, her book was, it was great. I know I said Bob Proctor. Erkhart Tolle, and the list goes on. I know I said they changed, but literally also when I read Louise L Hay's book, her writing was perfect. One of the things that I still remember that stuck out to me was, again, in her book, she does explore concepts such as being in the present moment, the law of attraction, so on and so forth, right? But in Louise's book, she talks about how we need to be mindful of the things that we think and say, because imagine the universe as like a restaurant, and the waiter comes to you and I guess serves you your meal, but before you even get your meal, you're probably like, I'm pretty sure that steak is going to be bad. Guess what? You're going to get bad steak because you've already imprinted the thought into your subconscious mind, and you're literally attracting that to be an experience. And that's why I often say as well, like, what you think and what you do or say that is positive is most likely going to attract positive experiences. But if whatever it is that you do or think or say is negative, you're most likely going to experience or attract more negative experiences. And so basically she was like, imagine the universe as a kitchen, so where you make your order, but you must, in making your order, already assume, that is why we have the law of assumption, you must already assume that the meal is going to be good, and it will be good because you've already imprinted that into your subconscious mind. And so when you have that meal, it will be a good meal because you've already radiated that energy, that frequency, and impressed it into your subconscious mind. And so those are the people that really inspired me. But I also was inspired by Vusi Thembekwayo. I love how confident he is. He speaks with so much confidence. He almost there was a time where I felt like him and Kanye West was slightly similar, just slightly, with regards to their confidence. That is, speaking of Kanye West, if there's one thing I really like about Kanye West, or let me just say the old Kanye West, I don't follow the latest news now, but not latest news. Okay, so okay guys, Kanye West, for me, Kanye West is, again, like, I will find myself randomly going on YouTube and searching Kanye West in an interview because he's got this, and I think, yes, it can be a bit of arrogance, but he's very confident. This man believes in himself so much, it's for some of us, it's really hard to fathom, right? It's like, how can he believe so much in himself and then become the thing that he said he was going to be? But you see, that's the thing. If you fix your mind here first, if you work on this influences what you say. This influences what comes out of this. And what comes out of this influences what happens. Literally, there is power in your tongue. I've gotten this lesson not only from the people that I've listed in this video, but also from a religious scripture, Christian scripture that I think it's there's multiple books in the Bible, but my favorite books are Ecclesiastes and Proverbs. I think for obvious reasons, if you know. But yeah, I think that's about it. That's about it, guys. I certainly hope that today's video gave you a bit of insight with regards to, I guess, my passion for personal development. It started with me working on myself first, and it then became something I felt called to do and to be. After all, one of my clan names is Visa, which simply means to advise. And on that note, I don't think I mentioned this on YouTube, but I have been nominated for the Best Life Coach Award for Emerge Africa Award. When I got that nomination, I was very humbled because you don't know who's watching. You don't know who's listening. And I think this for me was like a validation that I didn't even know I needed, right? A validation from the universe, from the higher power, to say, yes, This is where I want you to be. This is what I want for you. And I am surrendering myself to the process and allowing the higher power to speak through me and to use me as a vessel. And I certainly hope that I do make an impact. But with that said, beautiful soul, though, on the real, may goodness and grace lead you to greater heights of success. Namaste.